My sister sabotaged every relationship I had for years, so I set her up with someone who ruined her world. From the moment my younger sister, Natalie, came into the world, I was plagued by a built-in rival for every man I loved. This wasn't about shared clothes or fleeting flirts. I'm talking about the kind of betrayal where, if I brought a guy home, she'd have him enchanted within days. If I introduced a date at our family's weekly dinner, she'd be texting him secretly before we even cleared the plates. If I shared a sweet couple selfie online, she'd conveniently run into him at his go-to cafe the next morning. Everyone always remarked that Natalie inherited Mom's striking beauty, while I got Dad's clever mind. The comparison hurt, but I coped. Until the pattern of stealing my partners began. It started subtly in high school. My boyfriend, Ethan, suddenly insisted on studying at our place every day. Natalie would glide through in her dance team outfit, asking for help with her algebra. I didn't catch her scheming back then because I trusted them both completely. In hindsight, the red flags were glaring. By our 20s, Natalie's moves were calculated and ruthless. I dated Lucas for half a year before introducing him to the family. A week after that chaotic dinner, Natalie had a breakdown and needed his comforting presence at 3 a.m. They hooked up that night. Then there was Julian from my advertising job. Same pattern, family dinner, a staged crisis, late-night consoling. When I found their flirty texts, Natalie had the gall to tilt her head with a sugary smile. "I'm just testing them for you, Claire," she said, fluttering her lashes. "Julian didn't pass." Deep down, I knew she wasn't wrong. If these guys ditched me for her so quickly, maybe they weren't keepers. But that reasoning didn't soothe the sting of her betrayal. Then came Ryan, the one who nearly shattered me. We'd been together 2 years, planning a future after I completed my medical training. At his birthday party, which I'd spent weeks organizing, Natalie got drunk and kissed him in front of everyone at the bar. When he picked her over me, she posted online, "Sometimes love picks you, not the other way around. Sorry, not sorry." At Christmas, Mom pulled me aside, her tone as sharp as the knife she was using. "Stop flaunting these men in front of Natalie," she snapped, stirring cranberry sauce. "She can't help herself when you wave temptation in her face. Why do you keep setting her up to fail?" In my head, I wasn't waving anything. I was trying to build something real, only to watch it collapse under Natalie's relentless charm. 3 months later, luck found me at my college friend's wedding in Seattle. That's where I met Aaron, everything I'd ever wanted in a 6-foot-tall package. Kind, thriving as a tech developer, and seemingly immune to feminine wiles. For 9 perfect months, I kept him hidden from my family. We'd take road trips to nearby cities for dates, avoided social media posts, and I told no one about him. I thought I'd finally outwitted Natalie's schemes. This was the strongest, most authentic connection I'd ever had. Aaron spoke of our future with such confidence that I began to believe in forever again. But then my chatty cousin, Emily, accidentally mentioned Aaron to Mom during a call, who, of course, told Natalie within hours. Natalie's sleuthing skills could rival a private investigator. She tracked him down via his company's website in days. The betrayal hit like a tidal wave when I used my key to Aaron's apartment and found them tangled in our bed. The worst part wasn't the scene itself, it was Natalie's reaction. She sat up bare and unapologetic and delivered a crushing line. "Honestly, I saved you," she said, collecting her clothes without a hint of guilt. "He didn't even last 10 minutes. You deserve better, sis." Aaron just shrugged, not bothering to cover up. "Your sister's too gorgeous to resist," he said. "You get it, right?" I stood there, shaking with fury and shame, while Natalie kissed him goodbye like I was a ghost, like I was just part of the furniture. That heart-wrenching moment made everything clear. Natalie didn't take my boyfriends to protect me or because of innocent attraction. She did it because she could, because she thrived on watching me break, because ruining my joy had become her cruel pastime, driving to my car in the parking lot, hands trembling so much I could barely hold the keys. I made a choice that would change everything. Natalie craved men she couldn't resist. Fine. I'd give her exactly that, wrapped in a package that would tear her apart from the inside. The plan took shape during the hour-long drive home. Natalie always fell for the same type. Handsome, charismatic, seemingly accomplished men who made her feel adored. She never dug beyond their polished exteriors, never questioned their tailies or pasts. That flaw would be her undoing. Over the next few weeks, I scoured public records, legal databases, and background check sites. That's how I found Dominic Vega, a strikingly attractive man who claimed to be a finance mogul from Phoenix. Recently divorced after his ex-wife detailed years of financial and psychological abuse in court documents. 2 restraining orders from former girlfriends, under scrutiny for investment fraud. Perfect. Dominic's online profile portrayed him as a thriving businessman, complete with polished photos that could have landed him on a billboard. But deeper digging revealed a cunning manipulator who preyed on women, draining them financially. I set up a fake online profile as a potential client and contacted him about a deal. We met at a coffee shop in downtown Phoenix, where I played the part of a heartbroken older sister flawlessly. I showed him Natalie's social media photos, raving about how she always took my boyfriends because she was so breathtaking. "I can't measure up to her," I said, letting my voice waver with rehearsed pain. "Every man I love picks her instead. I feel so worthless." Dominic's eyes gleamed like a hunter spotting easy prey. He saw what I wanted him to see, a vulnerable woman he could exploit with a stunning sister as the ultimate prize. "You're amazing, Claire," he said, squeezing my hand across the table. "Any guy who'd leave you for someone else is a fool." Hook, line, and sinker, we started dating right away, with me acting the part of a smitten girlfriend while he set up his usual scam. He overwhelmed me with lavish dinners at upscale steakhouses, weekend getaways to Sedona, and promises of a shared future. But I saw through his act. Every compliment was strategic, every gesture meant to make me dependent. After a month of this pretense, I told him I wanted to keep our relationship hidden from Natalie because of her history of stealing my partners. Then I invited him as my date to Mom's birthday dinner at a local Italian restaurant, knowing exactly what dominoes I was setting to fall. Dominic thought he was playing me, positioning himself to scam me while eyeing Natalie as an extra conquest. He had no clue he was stepping into a trap I'd meticulously crafted. At the dinner, Dominic played his part perfectly. He ignored Natalie while lavishing me with attention that seemed sincere enough to fool everyone. He praised my pasta order, chuckled at Dad's awful puns, and even brought Mom a bouquet. But Natalie couldn't handle being overlooked, especially by a man this charming. She reacted as I expected, brushing Dominic's arm when she spoke, leaning in too close when she laughed, whispering private jokes only he could hear. Her flirting grew so blatant that even our clueless parents started to notice. I excused myself to the restroom and peeked through the slightly open door as Natalie made her move. "My sister's sweet, but she's so predictable," she murmured, tracing her finger along Dominic's wrist. "I could show you things she'd never even think of." When I returned and caught them swapping numbers, I threw my wine in Dominic's face and stormed out, fake tears streaming. It was the performance of a lifetime, complete with smudged eyeliner. Natalie called that night, her voice oozing with crocodile tears that didn't fool me. "Dominic totally hit on me at dinner," she said, "but you're better off without him. Something about him feels off." Within 2 days, she was posting stories from his upscale apartment in Scottsdale. Within a week, she was head over heels for his lies. Within a month, she'd moved in and given him access to her bank accounts for joint expenses. I watched it all unfold from a distance, feeling a mix of triumph and creeping unease. Natalie was walking into a trap, and I was the one who'd led her there. But after years of having my heart broken by her selfishness, I couldn't bring myself to warn her. The first sign of trouble came 6 weeks later when a lawyer for Dominic's ex-wife contacted Natalie. Dominic had hidden assets during his divorce, and now Natalie could be liable as an accomplice to fraud. "They're saying I might get sued," Natalie said in a panicked call, but Dominic explained it's just his ex trying to stir up trouble. I made sympathetic sounds, knowing this was only the start. Then came the news that Dominic's investment company was a Ponzi scheme. Natalie had poured her entire $35,000 savings into what she thought was the next big tech venture. When regulators shut it down, her money disappeared. "It's a mistake," she cried during another late-night call. "Dominic's team is fighting it. He says we'll get it all back with interest." But when Natalie tried to leave his apartment after uncovering more lies, Dominic revealed his true nature. He gripped her arm so hard it broke, then locked her in a room while ranting about ungrateful women who didn't value his efforts. When she finally escaped and checked her accounts, she found he'd drained everything: savings, checking, even her retirement fund. Worse, he'd used her identity to open credit cards and loans, leaving her with $90,000 in debt she didn't know existed. The final blow landed at dawn on a Thursday when federal agents raided Dominic's apartment. They found Natalie's signature on dozens of forged documents he'd tricked her into signing, implicating her in fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. My phone rang at 6:15 a.m. Natalie's name lit up the screen, but I let it go to voicemail. Her message was a tearful mess. "Claire, please, I'm in jail and they're saying I could go to prison. Dominic used me and now the feds think I was in on it. I know I hurt you, but I'm begging for help." I listened to it twice before deleting it. The local news broke the story days later. Local woman implicated in multi-million-dollar scam. Natalie's mugshot appeared on the evening broadcast, her face streaked with tears, her eyes empty with despair. Mom called frantic. "You have to help your sister," she pleaded. "She messed up, but she doesn't deserve this." "She made her choices," I said coolly, "just like she did with Lucas, Julian, Ryan, and Aaron." The silence hung heavy before Mom whispered, "You knew, didn't you? You knew what he was." I didn't respond because the truth wasn't black and white. Did I know Dominic would ruin Natalie this thoroughly? Not precisely. Did I research him enough to know he was dangerous? Without a doubt, Natalie took a plea deal, testifying against Dominic for reduced charges. She served 9 months in a low-security prison, emerging with a criminal record, ruined credit, and a restraining order keeping Dominic away for good. Family dinners ended. Mom couldn't meet my eyes, torn between shock at my actions and a grudging respect for my calculated revenge. Dad just sighed when Natalie's name came up, mumbling about reaping what you sow. Natalie moved to Seattle after her release, working as a server and piecing her life back together. We haven't talked in over a year, but I check her social media sometimes. She looks worn now, more guarded. The bold, predatory spark in her eyes has faded, replaced by something tentative and subdued. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far, if wrecking my sister's life was worth the thrill of finally outplaying her. But then I recall Aaron's indifference, Natalie's smug betrayal, and years of watching my happiness dissolve for her amusement. She got the irresistible man she always chased, just not the one she expected. I've been in therapy for months, grappling with the tangled emotions of orchestrating someone's downfall, even someone who hurt me repeatedly. My therapist says revenge rarely delivers the closure we hope for, and she's right. I don't feel victorious or justified. Mostly I feel hollow where all that rage once burned. But I sleep easier knowing Natalie will never sabotage another woman's relationship again. Some lessons come only through total ruin, and my sister learned hers the hardest way possible.